Give you a 10-minute chance to get something for free at the mall. What would you buy? This woman is pushing a shopping cart, scrambling to get it in. Steaks and canned goods that the kids love. The husband keeps mumbling about cocktails. The 10 minutes pass quickly. The cart is packed to the brim. At the last second, he's still grabbing the candy. The children squeal with delight. The husband was proud of him too. But he had thought of everyone. But he forgot to buy for himself. Maybe that's what makes a mom so frugal. Even the free shopping subconsciously ignores himself. His name is Ryan. Originally a talented skinny writer, now the mother of 10 children, and the wife of this alcoholic. Once her husband was a famous singer, but lost his singing voice in a car accident. To support his family, he was forced to find a job in a machine shop. The huge gap in his life was too much for the man to handle. He avoided reality by drinking every day. The monthly tweets of his mind were all spent on alcohol. Ryan had to enter AdWords design contests, winning prizes every now and then to help support his family. Sometimes it's a kitchen appliance. Sometimes it's a cash prize, or shoes and food, etc. That's how to make ends meet. One day the landlord came to the door. He said his daughter was getting married and wanted the house back. The Ryan family was given only 3 weeks to move out. The husband came home at night. The kids swarmed around them, expecting their dad to have a solution. But instead he said, "Oh, don't you worry, sweetheart, mom always figure something out. When things get tough." The husband who thinks he's the head of the family, but he leaves it to the woman to solve the problem. The next day a fancy car pulls up in front of the house. The children were terrified. They thought it was coming to a victim. They rushed home to call their mother. "May I help you?" It turned out that Ryan had beaten over 60,000 contestants. Beating over 60,000 contestants nationwide, not only did he win a washing machine and refrigerator, and a super prize of $5,000. When he heard the news, Ryan cried tears of joy. This prize came along, saved an extremely fearful family. When her husband returned, the neighbors all came to congratulate him. "Looks like you were the one who got lucky, Kelly." Hearing this, the husband doesn't look so good. Ryan immediately relieves himself to, "Oh, now Kelly was all set to do. I just beat him to the pump, in front of outsiders." He always gives his sensitive husband some face. The couple used their winnings to take out a loan to buy a house, but because Ryan was unemployed, the property deed can only be written in the husband's name. Although disappointed, but did not say anything. "You are home lawyer, sir." Within a few days, the family moved into the new home happily. But at night, Ryan and the kids were watching TV. Her husband was in the kitchen drinking alone. The drunken husband went berserk. He grabbed a pot and smashed it into the refrigerator, and overturned the table and chairs. He ranted and raved in the same place. The wife saw this, and was afraid that he would hurt the children. Quickly let them go to their respective rooms. Neighbors heard the commotion. Soon called the police. The police and the priest came to the house. But not only did they not blame the man, they said to Ryan that it was not easy for the husband to support the family. "You have to be more understanding of him." Ryan was silent. In the 1950s, the concept of domestic violence didn't exist yet. In the face of such a husband, he had to swallow his anger. The next day, her husband sobered up and broke the film. He pointed to the refrigerator he had smashed last night, asking who did it. The children said, "You did it when you were drunk. You did it when you were drunk and crazy." The man realized he sounded a little ashamed. He assures the family that it won't take long. He would fill it up with food. This refrigerator the children are very dismissive of. "Son's dead. Gonna fill the freezer when can't even pay for the melting." In the end, it was Ryan who won the prize of 10 minutes of free shopping. Only then did he fill the freezer to the brim. The family prepared a big dinner that night to celebrate. But just then, looking at his mother, who was adored by the children, the man went crazy again, cursing and swearing, while throwing the food out of the freezer. "Kelly, please put all that food back in the freezer. I don't want everything to thaw." Lauren knew that her husband was drunk again. He tried to coax the child. He brings out her husband's favorite cocktail to cheer him up. Then he pulled the man to the table. The atmosphere was peaceful. It was like nothing had happened. After the meal, Ryan didn't complain, just quietly cleaned up everything. A few years passed in the blink of an eye. With the prize money from Ryan's competition, the family's life was quite stable. The husband still hadn't changed his drinking habits. He gave all the money in the house to the liquor store. By the time Ryan asked him for money for the children's milk, he couldn't get a penny out. Ryan had to embarrass himself by asking for credit from Nana Song. Soon's milk source was not happy. A lot of snide comments. He finally agreed to pay for a week. Ryan couldn't help but complain when he came back with the milk. That was pleasant. Upon hearing this, the husband became furious. "You think money grows on trees? I work my ass off in that sticky sweatshop all day long. And you get to stay home, do whatever you want. Do whatever I want, sit around all day writing your story. Those stupid notebooks are the only reason. This family isn't living on the street." These words. The last shame of a man is uncovered. He instantly lost control. "Jesus, what did you do to her? It's an accident." The children scolded the father severely, and told him to stay away from his mother. Then the others, who were so overwhelmed, Ryan just stood up calmly, waited for neighbors to come and take him to the hospital. After the individuals left, The husband sat alone on the steps and cried out in pain, facing his wife. He always felt inferior, but only felt remorse every time he hurt him. But he never changed. He still drank every day. He complained about others. Contrary to that, Ryan was always smiling. Despite all the hardships, he still managed to face life positively, especially with his children. Ryan always had a lot of patience. When he saw his oldest daughter leave home to go to Soho Health School, when he saw his two sons join the baseball team, he felt immense pride. But Ryan wasn't coddling either. When his children were caught stealing, he warned in words that stealing is stealing. Don't you dare try to justify it, don't you dare. Day by day. One day Lane received a letter. It was from a competition group. The group was made up of housewives like him. The group was made up of housewives who were competing like him. They admired each other. They became fast friends. And they asked Ryan to come to their house for a party. Ryan wanted his husband to drive him. He excused himself for not having time. In fact, it was only because of the expensive postage for the round trip. Ryan had to ask his son to come to the day of departure. The children were very upset. The youngest son picked all the buds from the neighbor's garden. The youngest son picked all the flower buds from the neighbor's garden. At this moment the neighbor came aggressively. The husband hid in the house. Ryan knew he couldn't leave. Or did you know that I am so sorry? The child was in trouble. Husband hides at home first, leaving a mess for Ryan to deal with. Are we going or not? No honey, I'm afraid the trip is off. He had to give up his plans to go out. It wasn't until a few years later that his daughter learned to drive. The man finally got a chance to go to a party. It's the first time he's gone out in years. Both mother and daughter were very happy. The scenery on the road was also very beautiful. However, halfway to the car began to smoke. They had to stop to fix the car. The daughter thought the father was doing it on purpose and asked her mother, "Do you ever wish you'd never married him?" "No, I don't have any regret. Come on, long. You've been sucking a house for 20 years. You could be living in a city, writing for a newspaper, having an interesting life." "I do have an interesting life." Ryan never complains about life being bad. He just thinks about how to make a difference. When he arrived at the place, Ryan was greeted by his friends with enthusiasm. They discussed their work together, sharing ideas with each other, laughing from time to time. During the time, a housewife gave Ryan the last spot in the contest. To Ryan, "Honey, you have more kids at home now, you take that." This day, it was the happiest day in Ryan's 20 years of marriage. But happy times are short. When Ryan got home, to find the kids all locked out of the house, no laughing. Before he could say anything, he was greeted by the making of his husband. "We left at the crack of dawn, and you don't come back until it's almost done." He's too busy preparing dinner for the kids. He doesn't have time to talk to him. But the husband won't stop. The children rush to protect their mother. He saw his chance to throw a tub of jam all over him. Watching her husband's antics coldly, a perfect advertising line came to his mind. "For picnic or party, Jello Zaboon made by 9. All set by noon." The husband said. He was just worried that Ryan wouldn't come back, so he did it. To coax him, the husband bought him an exquisite desk set. Ryan was very touched. At the same time, he wondered where the money came from. A few days later, Ryan sent the jingle to the competition, and that's when he understood the origin of the money. "Hello?" The bank called that her husband had taken out a loan against their house, and the loan money had already been squandered by him. Now Ryan was devastated. To survive, he made the worst kind of garlic. At the dinner table, he made plans for every child in the family to go, yet his husband reassured him that as long as Mom on her foot, everything would be fine. This man not only has no responsibility, but also put the fate of his family on an unknown game. At night Lan sat safely in her room. Her husband said he would find a way. This time Lan finally couldn't take it anymore. "Your turn to make things right, cause I'm out of ideas. Don't forget sakes, Kelly, I'm not a saint. Life is getting stretched to the limit." Lao In used the last of the food in the fridge, made breakfast for the kids. Then the family started to pack their bags to move out. That's when a phone call came from the house. Maybe it was Ryan. His kindness and generosity had touched God. He won again. "It's my pleasure to inform you that you are first prize winner, and cash in the amount of free $440.64. Goodness, well, thank you for telling me that." The family is saved. The family is overjoyed. Only the daughter is sitting on the stairs crying. "It's okay. Everything's gonna be okay. We're all gonna be okay." Here we are. The daughter knows that their lives will never be the same, and the mother won't always be so lucky. His heart aches for his mother to be tied to this family once again. But the old man comforted him. "Forgive him, tough. Forgive him so that you can embrace this truly remarkable day." Then the AdWords contest craze wore off. Lane never won another prize. Their family didn't get any better, but it didn't get any worse. The kids grew up. They all went to good cities, made it big. Many years later the husband passed away. Surprisingly enough, after that crisis, he actually started saving money, leaving Ryan with a substantial pension. A few more years passed. Ryan was at peace and content. He finished the last journey of his life. This story is based on a true story. It is a daughter's memoir of her mother's life. There is no doubt about it. Ryan was a great and honorable mother. He spent his life teaching her children that even in the face of adversity, to face life with a strong and optimistic spirit. But he was also limited by the times. I believe we would like to see an independent and autonomous female editor, surrounded by a group of children who understand and know how to behave. At the sophisticated desk he is creative, enjoying his happy and wonderful life.